you were feeling something on this record.
Yeah, for sure. It was. It's a big opportunity to do this creation in a wonderful studio in the Bulgarian radio studio, which I guess is like Bulgarian Abbey Road. You know, it's got that vibe. It's got the history, but
Got the
it's yeah. Let's talk Turkey here. It's got the microphones. Okay, that's what we're really there for. It was the first thing I asked to see. You want to see the room? Nope. You want to see the control room? Nope. Where are the mics? Show me the mics and just, you know.
Yeah.
But even that does something because then you're like committed to this idea. It's bigger, bolder. You want to do something better in front of that mic, which sounds ironic, but you just don't want to let the mic down.
Nope.
You know, nothing worse than a sad mic. All right, cheer up, microphone.
Even the cover features a mic.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the thing, wasn't it? It was in that situation you realize this is something we should capture. And that image is like really so strong because it's not me wishing for that. It's rather actually that is part of the vision, was to use those microphones in such an environment to work on that album or on any album of mine.
It feels like a sort of in a way like a tourist brochure. Like it should encourage people to come to Bulgaria. In a way, you know, like how does Bulgaria even tie in? Because obviously there's something that happens here that maybe could not happen if you're just anywhere else.
There's a curious thing, and you get it in a few places in the world, and it's like what would you call it, like a backhanded compliment, but it is still a compliment. Is that it's slightly a graveyard of ambition here. But in this fast world, I think you need places like that slow you down. You can do a lot of things here, but principally you can enjoy life. And that's a dangerous thing. Because as an artist, you don't want to. Yeah, exactly. And that's the two sides of it.
Seesaw.
You can enjoy doing nothing. You can enjoy life very cheaply here. And that's not a currency thing, it's rather the time thing. Time is money, but very often people just keep on the money side of that equation. But here you can actually enjoy your time a lot. So there is a space to create that's created here, but don't forget to create. And that's the opposite side of that. You can't get sucked into it too much. You know, Galway on the west coast of Ireland is very much like that. It's full of artists, but I'd be willing to wager that the volume of art produced per head of capita of artists is way lower than in other places because there's so much happening, it's harder to push through.
Sure.
So here I think there's great musicians. There's such a strong music vibe in Bulgaria, and it's in the folklore, it's in their history. A lot of fantastic musicians. There's a strong classical music thing.
Yeah, sure.
So I think Addie has studied music. She received a doctorate, I think, recently. That's the theremin player. Bo, of course, also studied music classically. And then on the flip side, we have the guys who studied a lot of music as well.
Sure.
So this weird balance of studied music, but popular music, and it's a unique thing if you're willing to play that balance, as I mentioned, of enjoying life and letting it be easy, but then also engaging with creation.
Sure.
Which is hard.
Let the life permeate.
Yeah.
But don't fail to create. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and part of that for me is songwriting almost every day, at least weekly, producing some songs that I'm gonna put away somewhere and use at a later date, or at least I know that they're pushing me forward in terms of how I write songs.
Right.
And that's process, and that's actively working on things, but still sitting back and going, okay, this is a kind of a cool place to live and enjoy that vibe. So it definitely is a factor. I mean, that's why the name of the album is in a Bulgarian word, but that can be interpreted in English, you know. So Magistrala, but Magistrala, I imagine. I think it's how it reads in English, right? Which for me brings up magic. Straight when I see the word, it drew my eye on a highway.
Right.
I don't know why I never saw it on a highway till recently. I mean, I've been all over the country, so and I just never saw that word, or it never jumped out at me.
Right.
And it was only very recently that I saw it. That's a great word.
It's a great word. It
Yeah,
really does
right.
evoke something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it, it looks like majestic, magical.
Yeah.
It looks and feels like magistral. Isn't it? Is that
Yeah.
the French word? Is it for
It also reminds me. It reminds me of this. What was it? Utopia. Lysistrata. You remember that song?
Yeah.
Lysistrata.
Right?
And it has that vibe. It's like something, foreign and exotic, but not in a like you want to know what's going on. What is
Right.
that? What does that mean? Like,
Yeah, right.
What, what is that story?
And you know, and it ties it up neatly for me because it's part of my journey is the Bulgarian language, Bulgarian culture,
Yeah.
Bulgarian highway
Right.
of this section of my life,
Right.
this section of highway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of perfect to be in the Bulgarian radio station, national
Right.
radio recording with that title hanging over my head to explore this section and look back over these years.
And it's a real mix of musicians. You've got Peruvians and
Yeah, right.
Texans and
People from all over.
Bulgarians,
which-
Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's important too, because
Yeah,
that's realistically is my reality here.
Right.
It's not just Bulgarians, it's not just Irish, it's people from all over.
Yeah.
And all that feeds into it. It makes a more realistic picture for me of my reality.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't just make an album with Irish musicians. That would be quite strange for me at this stage,
Yeah.
I think. You know, it would
Sure.
be missing something. But then, realistically, I'm no longer just Irish because I'm from Ireland, I always will be. But where I've been, I'm also from other places. And you know, I'm another creature, you know, at this stage. Like all of us, I think.
We're never who we were. You can't be.
No, exactly. It's not possible. You keep moving down that highway to the next stage and stop. And you know, I think it's possible with the songs if you group them together. You probably will find not necessarily an answer, but a response from one to the other. The songs can be
Sure.
beginning and end, but they can also be one way to look at it, the other way to look at it. And I think that's very much in the album too. That the songs have this double perception.
Sure.
Yeah. So like if the moon is actually weirdly like I can't stop breaking my own heart. Except in one it's blaming it on the exterior and the other
Right.
is actually it's me.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure.
I mentioned the highway thing, you know, we have those two highway songs very much. Right? It's so you can see the album is divided into, you know, perception as well.
Yeah.
As the character changes. It could be even said that it's just the same thought before and after or during the moment and after the fact when you look back at something.
Right. Well, FM radio starts out as almost this, this lonely road thing. Like there's this person, singular, who, at the end of the album, is calling all manner of friends and family to
Right.
join him or her in this place. Like there's this.
Sure.
Let's do this together. Like we
Yeah.
may start out alone, but really, it's that final of all of us being together. It's that kind of hope, because sending
Yeah.
home is not to just one person. This is
there's
a
a
group.
It's attending your own wake. It's
Yeah.
like it's your acknowledgement of the people attending that moment, and you realize they're the people again, not who are commiserating about the death, but rather celebrating the
Yeah,
life. And you
exactly.
can't celebrate a life by
It's a
yourself.
parade.
You know,
It's a
yeah,
parade,
exactly.
yeah.
Like the Nolans thing. It's celebration, it's reflection, but it's a joyous reflection.
Yeah.
It's a joyous moment of that. What a life,
Mhm.
you know. I think, in case in point with Arthur, what a life he had.
Yeah,
You know, that song couldn't be less than that.
Mhm.
It would be a massive disservice if it wasn't this joyous thing at the end, you know.
Swirling.
Yeah, exactly. Swirling,
Mass,
sweeping,
yeah.
rising into the heavens, and this way of going. Well, he didn't live life alone. He lived life with so many people around him, and I guess we're all lucky if that happens to us, to have such a celebration, such a what would you call it? Such a congregation of people,
Yeah.
and
It's the wake.
yeah, exactly.